Hey y'all, it's Brother Jerome with my office experience report on 5 offices of Lauds and Vespers at St. Joseph Abbey, my Benedictine monastery. I'm going to start with my main point of how I found myself praying as far as stream prayer versus prayer of careful concentration. I found what I was doing was closer to stream prayer, but not quite that exactly. What I found myself doing was focusing on a sort of general idea or theme from each psalm or hymn or other part of the office. So I wasn't reflecting on every word or every line, but I was paying attention to what the texts were saying and what they meant, but it all kind of came together to more of a sort of general theme, like the theme of lament or the idea of God as king. In helping me to do that, I found key words from the antiphon, kind of helped identify what that theme was. Also, I think music is particularly helpful in that because it expresses things that words can't. So it provides a sort of richer expression in prayer. I found that especially true in the praise psalms because they can be accompanied by either lighter, more joyful music or more serious and intense music. For example, at Wednesday Lauds, we sing Psalm 97, which goes like, "The Lord is King, let earth rejoice, let the many islands blah blah blah." And then we also sing Psalm 146 at that office, which goes like, "My soul give praise to the Lord. I will praise the Lord all my life. Sing praise to my God while I live." I found I tended to connect more with the more serious praise psalms because I think a lot of the language in the praise psalms is pretty serious and intense while still being joyful. Moving on to laments, I found I connected well with them, particularly if I was in a sort of lament mood that day. Especially Psalm 64, also on Wednesday Lauds. They sharpen their tongues like swords, they aim bitter words like arrows to shoot at the innocent from ambush. In praying like that, I found myself sort of letting out my lament against spiritual enemies who are sort of preventing me from holiness, as well as against real people in the world who are treating other people like that. So that's lament. As far as bodily experience, I think just standing up straight and singing is a sort of incorporation of the body, but I don't think it was as powerful and significant enough to really form a bodily experience of prayer within me. One thing that we do here that is kind of significant, I think, is that we face east for the opening verse and the concluding rites, which I think is good, but nowadays it's kind of lost some of its meaning just in the modern world. I think it would be nice if that situation overall could be improved. As far as prayer as being a communal experience, I think our office here has several aspects which will especially emphasize community among the fellow monks, such as just our corporate identity of being together and all wearing our habits, being in the choir stalls and singing together. Also the Our Father, which was important for St. Benedict because thorns of contention are likely to spring up, so it's good to remind us that we will be forgiven as we forgive others to help build up our community. Also, communal humor and play is important for us when, like if the organist messes up or if one of the older monks makes a weird noise in choir or something like that. It kind of helps us all to relax, I think, and not be too rigid about the liturgy, and sort of helps us to have that communal experience in our prayer time. As far as the ecclesial connection with the wider church, I don't think that's as strong here. Of course, we're a monastery, so that's kind of to be expected. One of the main reasons that's true is because on weekdays we do the Kyrie instead of the intercessions towards the end, so we don't have that obvious reference to the universal church. On the other hand, on the Feast of St. Matthew, we did a lot of proper antiphons and things more directly related to the apostles, so I feel like that helped us to connect to the wider church who were all in unity celebrating the Feast of St. Matthew that day. So I'm curious if something like that could be better done just on normal weekdays and ordinary time. Lastly, about the office's connection to the Paschal Mystery and to the Eucharist, I found that I accept and agree with the statements that we've had from the readings, that connection is there, and that I can choose to reflect on those connections while I'm praying the office and sort of apply them throughout the process. But I didn't find much of anything in the offices which was deliberately seeking to connect the offices to the Paschal Mystery or to the Eucharist. So I think that's important, and that there should be some of that connection more obvious, and that situation can be improved. So I'm curious what other versions of the office are doing as far as making that connection. So I think that's all for me, so everyone have a blessed memorial of St. Jerome, and I'll see y'all soon.